Hey guys, welcome back to Words from Reagan. When certain things in life come to an end unexpectedly, a friendship, a relationship, a job, we tend to hold on to the situation because we don't know why it ended. We stick it out and try and find answers when in reality we just are being drained from chasing after it, being trapped in a gray area of life. So in this episode, we're going to be talking about not getting closure when something ends and how to take the next step forward to move on. When we do not know why something ended or someone walked out of our lives, our obsession with trying to understand why and what went wrong heightens. When we generally and logically grasp onto why, knowing we did nothing wrong, we justify their behavior, which leads us to look at our faults within ourselves and ask ourselves, what did we do wrong? What did I say? What did I do that pushed them away? What they did and what they chose to do to you has nothing to do with you as a person. It's out of human inclination to throw the blame on ourselves for something they did. But they walked out of our lives, and what they did doesn't mean that there is something wrong with you. There is something wrong with them. Their actions were wrong, yours weren't. Stop pouring into reasons of what is wrong with you, nothing is. Their behavior and why they left has nothing to do with you. As long as you are the truest version of yourself, you can't throw the blame on yourself. We keep asking ourselves, why? Why would they do this? Why would they walk out of my life? Why would they ghost me after 5 dates? You're never going to get the clarity that you're deeply in need of if you keep asking yourself this. Instead, ask yourself, why am I drawn to situations that leave me confused? Why am I attracted to situations that bring me nothing but chaos? If you find yourself over and over again being put into similar situations of people walking out of your life, you're attracting the wrong type of people. A lot of the time, we think we can click with people who have similar issues as us because we think we can fix them and help guide them to the right direction. It works for a little bit, but come down the road, you both have this empty void that you guys cannot fill for each other, and you think you can be the glue to their issues. But once they ghost you, once they leave you or betray you without any answer as to why, you chase them to try and get an answer. I think we do this because it's a human mind inclination to get a final answer for something. I've had several incidents in my life where I'll be talking to my family or friends and we'll recall a past memory or something that happened and we can't remember where the place was at that the memory happened or who we were with. And we cannot sit still until we find the answer that we're looking for. So we scroll on Facebook, try and find the pictures of that memory, or go on Snapchat and try and find the memories. So you see what I mean? We have similar situations, not just when trying to move on from closure, but something the human mind does where it needs to hear that final answer before you can sit still and breathe. Otherwise, it's just ticking in your head and flashing and you can't think of anything else. If you've been put in multiple situations like this, check with what you're putting out there. Are you actually being the truest version of yourself when it comes to meeting new people and being put into experiences? Do you put yourself first and keep your guard up, or do you let anyone who gives you attention into your life? You should keep your guard up until somebody proves themselves to you. You get what you put out there. You should be picky because you have standards, and you're not going to settle for less. If you do find yourself in these situations, try and just be yourself because, again, you get what you put out there. When you're tripping on no closure, moving on isn't always about getting a final answer. Instead, it's about accepting what is and moving on. We have to accept that sometimes what people do has nothing to do with us. Don't turn it around on yourself. The only wrong thing you're doing is continuously chasing after this person to get closure that you're never going to get. The moment something takes away your peace for a long time, that should be your sign that it is no longer good for you. If something is taking away from your happiness, you are not choosing yourself. We should be choosing what brings us happiness by putting us first. But when something is draining us and we are doing nothing to improve that, we again are stuck in that gray area of life. If you find yourself holding on to an ex who left you unexpectedly, if you keep going back to that one person who led you on and then ghosted you, or if you keep going back to that one old friend who you drifted away from, who you no longer have any strings with, what are you doing to move forward? When you are trying to move on from someone, that means you have to let go of all of them, not hold on to a piece of them. Yes, the memories will always be there, and they will always sting whenever you have flashbacks of them, but any tabs you hold on these people, you need to let go of. They wronged you. Maybe you were an almost, maybe things were going well, but they just left. Something almost worked out, but they are in your past, and instead of shit-talking them and blaming them, put the focus on you and get back into your lane. Keeping tabs on these people holds you back. Being able to appreciate a past experience with them, just be present today. When you're trying to accept it and move on, that is hard to do when you're still following them and holding tabs on them. In the day and age of social media, unfollow them. We don't connect with them in real life anymore, so why should we do it online? Not people who you drifted apart from, but people who made it clear to you that they don't want to be in your life. So I encourage you to do that. That is a great stepping stone into the right direction of moving on. I know it is hard, but seriously, you don't need to see them happy, and it's only going to push you back in your moving on era. Trusting yourself is the start of moving on, but when you hold a tab on these people from your past, you are not trusting yourself. We need to forgive ourselves for anything that happened in the past, anything we regret or we were hurt from. We are human, but we should forgive ourselves. We're giving ourselves a second chance. They no longer have a role in our lives, and we no longer have a role in their lives. We're moving on because we trust ourselves. We need to wash these people away, not with hate, but with love. Not everything is meant to be forever. We don't need to look at the relationship and assign blame in order to get closure. No contact is the best way to move on. Keeping tabs on past people disrupts the healing process. And I cannot understand and explain how powerful it is as a person for you to look back at the past memories and just smile from it. That's how you know you're healed. And I also saw a TikTok a couple weeks ago of a girl saying, for the people that have hurt you in your past and wronged you, and the ability to pray for them, that is just so strong and shows that you are just so powerful as yourself. For whatever higher power you believe in, I believe that if you pray for them, that is just shows you are so worthy and your maturity, because you want what's best for them, even though you're no longer in their lives. But there's something about the power of prayer that just brings us peace. And if you cannot find yourself deleting that old friend or ex off social media, most of the time you can't hit that unfollow button is because you want to hold on to a piece of them than rather have nothing at all. During the healing process, this is detrimental to your mind, because while you're still holding on to a piece of them, that is really something you don't have. You just want to see them and their lives, and the answer is why? Like, why would you want to do that? You're just putting yourself in the gray area of life, and you're not going to be able to move on. You have the power to take your healing process to the next level by unfollowing them. And if you can't do that, then you're not taking the power back. You have the choice to take the power back for yourself by unfollowing them. You're maybe still holding on to false hope that they're going to come back, and the truth is they're not. This is keeping you stuck. It's not letting you move forward in life or move on. You're stuck in the gray area. I again said I encourage you to do so. If you find yourself in this situation, it's not supposed to be in a rebellious, look, I unfollowed you and I don't care about you anymore. It's not supposed to be in that way. It's you choosing you and you choosing what's best for you in order to move on. But seriously, think about it. If you don't talk to somebody in your life anymore, what is the point of following them on social media? Granted, old friends who you maybe want to meet up with again one day, that is completely different. But anybody who has made it clearly apparent to you, hearing the words or their actions showing that they don't want to have anything to do with you and don't want to be in your life, what's the point of following them? So you can see them with their new girl, or you can see them move cities and are finally being happy, and maybe they got a new dog, and you look at their social media and are reminded of everything. You're reminded of your past when you have the power to take it back and say, no, I am moving on. Remember, there is no need to understand in order to move on. You are not supposed to understand everything in order to move on. You're only supposed to accept as your future. It doesn't depend on an explanation as to why someone left, but it depends on your ability to accept that if someone leaves your life, you have to trust that it's for a reason. Every day that you sit there having flashbacks and remember them walking out of your life without an explanation, you just want a little bit of closure. The thing is that they walked out of your life. They chose to leave you. They left someone who was ready to give them everything, someone who is hard to find. That should be your answer. That should be your closure right there. They didn't want to be with you. We overthink the fact of why. You have to realize because they walked out of your life, they didn't want to be with you. As hard as that pill is to swallow, use that as the closure instead of looking at everything that happened and what you apparently did wrong. When somebody has to offer what you do, loyalty, compassion, reciprocity, a kind soul, if they choose to walk out of your life, they lose you, you don't lose them. But when digging into reasons of why they left, we overthink, we overanalyze, we blame ourselves. It's okay, it's human nature, but pull yourself out of this. By doing this, you're only stuck in that gray area of life, and once you realize you were chasing that person or situation to try and find closure, no, they no longer are in your life for a reason, and it is your responsibility to make a future of peace. It's okay to dwell on this for a little, but if you don't pull yourself out, you're going to be in that gray area, which is hard to pull yourself out of. That's something we want to avoid at all costs. I know me and a couple of my friends, when we're about to move on or enter a new chapter of our lives, we like to do a little event or something to kind of officially enter that new era. And I'm sure most of you guys have seen this, but a couple of years ago, there was a TikTok trend of everyone filling up of things they want to let go on a glass plate, things from their past and things they never maybe got closure on. And they took that glass plate and smashed it. And I recently just saw somebody do it on a pumpkin, since obviously it's fall now and Halloween's coming up. I've obviously seen some people journal to get their feelings out, and some people go to a counselor or just talk to their family and friends. And I also did see somebody write a goodbye letter and burn it. So do what you want. Honestly, if you feel like you need to do something like this, go for it. I feel like this is like today's the last day, tomorrow starts my healing process. I feel like this is such a good way to officially enter that by literally smashing and being like letting go of something. You may not get a reason behind someone leaving, but you should know that you trust yourself to give yourself a second chance. Moving on is allowing yourself to start a new chapter in your life. When somebody walks out of your life with no explanation, knowing they weren't on the same page as you, and couldn't even bother to explain why, rather just ghost you, should be enough for you to move on. This just shows their maturity level. If somebody has enough respect for you to sit you down and at least at the bare minimum say, this isn't working out, it shows who they are as a person, and you have to respect that. Props to them, and I encourage you to all to communicate, and that's how I've always been. But if somebody has the heart to just suddenly disappear off the face of the earth and doesn't even explain to you why, or at least just say, I'm not sticking with you any longer, you know what I mean? That should be enough right there. It shows they're not mature whatsoever, and you are better off. Wait until you find somebody who respects you and fits your needs and is going to communicate anything and everything. Stop keeping tabs on these people, checking their page, seeing them with the new girl, or seeing them when they move happy. As long as you do this, you're in that gray area, and we want to do everything in our power to stay out of this area. It's when we are not moving forward or on at all, we're just stuck. You don't need to have closure and move on. You just need to accept it for what it is. It is out of your control in life, and only chasing that person is going to make you stuck. If it takes you unfollowing them on social media to stop keeping tabs on them, then please do that. You're choosing you instead of holding on to false hope. you're taking your power back. You don't get closure from everything in life, so learn to trust yourself to give yourself another chance. Remember that you guys are all strong individuals and you guys are all capable of anything you put your mind to as long as you put work towards it. So thank you guys so much for listening to this week's episode, and I will see you guys next Thursday with another one. Bye, guys.